welcome back. Or if this is your first night here, welcome to Sleepy Voyage. The day asked so much of you today, and perhaps it asked more than you had to give. There's a weariness in your shoulders that wasn't there when the sun rose, and your mind moves slowly now, as if each thought needs to wade through something thick and heavy. Small things feel too large, ordinary sounds feel too loud, and you just need a place to rest. Tonight, there is a small town waiting for you, a place where the streets are quiet and the lights are warm and the pace of life slows to something you can finally match. A place where you don't have to be anything but tired. A place where being tired is enough, where you are enough. Before we begin our walk through this quiet town tonight, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. By doing so, you ensure this refuge will always be here waiting for you on the difficult nights. This becomes a place you can return to again and again whenever the world feels too fast or too loud. If tonight's story brings you peace, your support means this sanctuary remains open for you. For others who need it just as much, come then, the town is waiting. The streetlights are glowing amber, and there is a stillness here that welcomes you home. The town sits in a valley where the hills roll gentle and the sky stretches wide. On this particular November evening, the air holds that cool clarity that comes after the sun sets, but before true cold arrives. The main street runs straight through the center. 2 lanes of dark asphalt lined with parallel parking spaces, most of them empty now. The streetlights stand at intervals, old-fashioned posts painted forest green, their lamps enclosed in glass that casts light the color of honey. That amber glow spills across sidewalks, across storefronts, across the hoods of the few cars parked along the curb. The storefronts themselves tell the story of a town that has been here a long time. Brick buildings, 2 and 3 stories tall, pressed close together with no gaps between. Their facades show their age, mortar gone soft in places, bricks darkened by decades of weather, paint on the window frames faded to colors that might have been bright once but now rest in muted tones. Each storefront has large windows at street level, display windows that once held elaborate arrangements but now hold simpler things. A bookstore with stacks of novels leaning against each other. A cafe with a chalkboard menu and mismatched chairs visible inside. A flower shop with buckets of late-season blooms, chrysanthemums in rust and gold, the last roses of autumn. Above the storefronts, the 2nd and 3rd floors hold apartments. Their windows glow soft yellow, curtains drawn against the night. The light within speaking of lives being lived in their evening rhythms. In one window, a lamp with a green shade. In another, the blue flicker of a television. In a third, nothing but warm light and the shadow of someone moving past. These windows create a pattern along the street. Dark window, dark, lit, like a code being transmitted to anyone who knows how to read it. The sidewalks are wide, made of concrete squares that have lifted and settled over the years, creating small rises and dips. Cracks run through some squares, and in those cracks, moss has taken hold, dark, green, and soft. The storefronts have awnings, canvas stretched over metal frames, striped in colors that have faded but still show their original intent. Red and white, green and cream, blue and tan. Some awnings are rolled up for the night. Others extend out, creating sheltered spaces where the light doesn't quite reach. Between 2 buildings, a narrow alley runs back into darkness. It's barely wide enough for a person to walk through comfortably, and the brick walls on either side are close enough to touch with outstretched arms. A dumpster sits halfway down, and beyond it, a security light mounted high on a wall casts a weak pool of illumination. The alley smells faintly of rain and cardboard and something cooking from a kitchen vent somewhere above. The evening air carries sounds, but they're distant and soft. From somewhere down a side street comes the low hum of a refrigeration unit cycling on. From somewhere else, the faint notes of music, jazz, maybe, or blues, playing quietly enough that you can't quite make out the melody. A dog barks twice, then stops. A car passes on a parallel street, its engine sound rising and fading. These sounds don't interrupt the quiet. They emphasize it. They show how deep the silence goes by giving it texture. The smell of the evening is complex. There's the scent of coffee, rich and dark, coming from the cafe even though it closed an hour ago. The smell lingers in the doorway, in the fabric of the awning, absorbed into the brick itself. There's the smell of autumn leaves, that particular scent of decay that isn't unpleasant but earthy and real. There's the faint sweetness of the flowers from the shop, and underneath everything, the smell of cooling asphalt, of concrete that held the day's warmth and is now releasing it slowly back into the night. The temperature sits at that perfect point, cool enough to make you aware of your skin, to make you appreciate the warmth of moving, but not so cold that you tense against it. The air touches your face gently. It slips into the spaces between collar and neck, between sleeve and wrist. It's the kind of air that makes you breathe deeper without thinking about it, that makes you slow down naturally because there's no discomfort pushing you to hurry. On the corner where Main Street meets Oak, there's a small park. Not really a park, more like a wide spot in the sidewalk where someone decades ago planted 3 trees and installed 2 benches. The trees are maples, their branches mostly bare now, though a few leaves still clung. The leaves that have fallen cover the ground in a carpet of amber and rust, and they rustle when the breeze passes through. The benches are wooden slats on black iron frames, and they face each other across a space of maybe 10 feet. One bench sits empty. On the other, a jacket has been left folded, as if someone stepped away and intends to return. Past the small park, the street continues. More storefronts. A hardware store with its window display of paint cans and garden tools. A barber shop with its red and white pole. The motor that turns it switched off for the night. A real estate office with photographs of houses taped to the inside of the window. And then, on the left side, a building slightly larger than the others. 2 stories, red brick, with wide stone steps leading up to double doors. The windows are tall and arched at the top, and through them you can see rows of shelves, books, thousands of books. This is the library. A single light burns inside the library. Not the overhead fluorescence, but a desk lamp somewhere in the back. Its glow is warm and contained, creating a small island of light in the larger darkness. The doors are closed but not locked. A small handwritten sign taped to the glass reads open until 9 p.m. A figure appears on the sidewalk. A woman walking slowly from the direction of the side streets. She's dressed in jeans and a thick cardigan the color of oatmeal, her hands tucked into the pockets. Her hair is pulled back loosely, and she walks with her head slightly down, watching her feet, watching the sidewalk passing beneath her. She's not hurrying. There's nowhere she needs to be. She's simply walking, simply moving through the evening, simply being. She pauses at the corner by the small park, looks at the empty bench, at the jacket left folded on the other. For a moment, she seems to consider sitting, but then she continues walking, her pace unchanged, steady, unhurried. Present as she walks, her footsteps create a rhythm on the concrete. Step, 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 step. A soft sound, barely audible, but regular as breathing. She passes the hardware store. passes the barber shop, passes the real estate office. Her reflection appears in each window as she passes, there and gone, a ghost of herself moving through glass. She stops at the library steps, tilts her head back to look up at the building, at the tall arched windows, at the light burning inside. Her hand comes out of her pocket and rests on the iron railing that runs up the center of the steps. The metal is cold under her palm. She stands there for a long moment, just looking, just feeling the cold metal, just breathing the evening air. Then she climbs, 1 step, 2, 3. The steps are stone, worn smooth in the center, where thousands of feet have walked over decades. The edges are sharper, less used. She walks up the center, following the path worn by all those who came before. At the top, she reaches for the door handle. It's brass, tarnished to a dull gold, warm from the heat inside, bleeding through the metal. She pulls. The door opens with a soft creak of hinges and a gentle rush of warm air. Inside, the library reveals itself gradually. The entry is small, just a space wide enough for the doors to swing open, with a mat for wiping feet and a wooden bench against one wall. Beyond that, the main room opens up. The ceiling is high, maybe 15 feet, with exposed wooden beams that run the length of the space. The walls are lined floor to ceiling with bookshelves, dark wood, older than anyone can remember, filled with books in every state of wear. Some spines are crisp and bright. Others are faded to illegibility. Some books stand upright. Others lean. Others lie on their sides, stacked in small piles. The light comes from that desk lamp she saw from outside. It sits on a large wooden desk near the back of the room, and behind the desk sits a man. He's older, perhaps 70, perhaps older, with white hair and wire-rimmed glasses that sit low on his nose. He wears a cardigan similar to hers, though his is dark blue and shows signs of many repairs. Small darns at the elbows. A button replaced with one that doesn't quite match. He's reading, his head bent over a book, and he doesn't look up when she enters. Not because he doesn't notice, but because he's giving her time, giving her space to arrive fully before acknowledging her presence. She stands just inside the door, letting it close softly behind her. The warmth of the library wraps around her immediately. It's not just temperature, though yes, it's warmer than outside, but a quality of warmth that comes from more than heat. The warmth of old wood and paper and time. The warmth of a place that has held people gently for a very long time. The smell hits her next. That library smell, paper and dust and leather and something indefinable. Something that smells like quiet feels, like safety feels, like belonging feels. She draws a deep breath, pulling that smell deep into her lungs, and something in her chest loosens. Just slightly, just enough. She moves forward. Her footsteps on the wooden floor make soft sounds. The floor is old and speaks when walked on, but quietly, respectfully. The boards don't creak so much as sigh. Between the shelves, reading chairs are scattered. Wing-back chairs upholstered in fabrics that were once bold colors but have faded to gentle versions of themselves. Small side tables sit beside each chair, and on each table, a lamp with a green glass shade. None of them are lit except the one at the desk. She walks slowly down the center aisle. Her fingers trail along the spines of books as she passes. She's not reading titles, just touching, feeling the texture of cloth and leather and paper, feeling the presence of all these stories, all these words, all these thousands of hours that people poured into creating something that would outlast them. The man at the desk closes his book, marks his place with a scrap of paper. removes his glasses and sets them down gently. Then he looks up. His face is kind. That's the first thing anyone would notice. Not handsome or plain, but kind. The kind of face that has spent decades listening more than talking, giving more than taking, holding space for people who needed space held. Evening, he says. His voice is soft, pitched low so it doesn't disturb the quiet. Cold out there tonight. She stops a few feet from his desk. Nods. Getting there, she says. Her voice sounds rusty, as if she hasn't used it much today, as if she hasn't had reason to. Libraries open another hour, he says. But you're welcome to stay as long as you need. No rush. He pauses, then adds, never been much for closing right on the dot anyway. She nods again. Doesn't smile, but something in her face softens. Thank you. You're welcome. He picks up his glasses, holds them up to the light, sees they need cleaning, pulls a cloth from his pocket and begins polishing them slowly. The gesture is automatic, practiced, something he's done 10,000 times. Looking for anything particular, or just looking? Just looking, she says. Then, after a pause, just being somewhere that isn't home. He nods, as if this makes perfect sense, as if he's heard it before and understands it completely. Harm, he says. Some nights are like that. He holds his glasses up to the light again, satisfied with their clarity, puts them back on. Well, you're in the right place. Library's good for being in. Lot of folks don't realize that anymore. They think libraries are just for books, but they're for people, always have been. She feels something shift in her chest, that looseness again, spreading. How long have you worked here? She asks. Oh, he leans back in his chair. It creaks softly under his weight. Long time now, 38 years this December. Started back when card catalogs were still the main system, before computers. Before the internet made everyone think they didn't need libraries anymore. He smiles, small and private, but people still come. Different people sometimes. Same needs though. Place to be, place to think, place to not think. Place to remember they're not alone, even when they feel like they are. She absorbs this, lets the words settle. That's nice, she says quietly. That people still come. He picks up a pencil from his desk, turns it end over end. You know what I've learnt, working here all these years. He doesn't wait for her to answer. Small towns, places like this, they can feel lonely sometimes. Everyone knows everyone, but that doesn't always mean connection. Sometimes it means the opposite. Means you can't be yourself because everyone thinks they already know who you are. So you walk around feeling invisible even though people see you every day. She goes very still. He's describing something she's felt but never named. He continues, his voice still soft, still unhurried. But then there are places like this, quiet places, where you can just be, where nobody needs you to be anything, where the quiet isn't empty, it's full. Full of all the stories that have been told, all the people who've sat in these chairs, all the nights when someone came in just because they needed somewhere to be that wasn't home. And all that, all those people, all those nights, they leave something behind. Makes the place feel, I don't know, less lonely, maybe. Even when you're alone. He sets the pencil down, looks at her directly. His eyes are grey-blue and very clear. You're not alone, he says simply. Even when you feel like you are, you're not. She feels tears prick at the corners of her eyes. Unexpected, unwelcome. But there, she blinks them back. Nods once, quick and jerky. Thank you, she manages. Nothing to thank me for, he says gently. Just the truth. Take your time. Read if you want. Sit if you want. Walk around if you want. I'll be here. Doors unlocked. You're safe. She nods again. Can't speak for a moment. Then, I think I'll walk around. If that's okay. More than okay, he says. Picks up his book again. Opens it. Returns his attention to the pages. Giving her privacy. Giving her space. She turns away. Moves deeper into the library. Between the shelves, the shadows are thicker. The light from his desk lamp doesn't reach all the way back here. But it's not frightening, this darkness. It's soft, gentle, like the darkness under a blanket. She trails her fingers along the spines again. History section, biography, science, fiction, poetry, each section bleeding into the next with no clear boundaries. She stops at the poetry section, pulls a book at random, opens it to a middle page, reads a few lines by the dim light filtering through from the main room. The poem is about loss, about missing someone, about the particular ache that comes from loving someone who isn't there anymore. She reads slowly, mouthing the words silently, each word landing in her chest like a small stone dropped into still water, creating ripples. She closes the book, puts it back, pulls another. This one is about joy, about small moments of unexpected happiness, about finding beauty in ordinary things. She reads this one too, feels the words differently than the first poem, feels them land in a different place. Time moves strangely here. She's not sure how long she stands, reading minutes, many minutes. The librarian doesn't interrupt, doesn't check on her, just lets her be. The library holds her in its quiet. The books surround her with their patient presence. The warmth seeps into her bones. Eventually, she moves to one of the reading chairs, sinks into it. The cushions are worn and soft, shaped by all the bodies that have sat here before her. She fits into that shape perfectly, as if the chair was waiting specifically for her. She lets her head rest back against the wing of the chair, closes her eyes. Just for a moment, the sounds of the library are minimal. The occasional settling of old wood, the soft sound of the librarian turning a page, her own breathing. That's all. That's enough. She thinks about what he said, about not being alone, about places holding the presence of everyone who's been there. She tries to feel it, all those other people who've sat in this chair, who've walked these aisles, who've come here because they needed somewhere to be. She tries to feel less alone, and somehow, impossibly, she does. Feel less alone. Not because she's convinced herself, not because she's trying hard enough, but because something about this place, this small-town library with its old books and its kind librarian and its warm golden light, something about this place makes it true. She isn't alone. Even sitting by herself in a reading chair in the back of a quiet library, she isn't alone. The tightness in her chest, the one that's been there for days, weeks, maybe, loosens another degree. The weight on her shoulders lightens. Not gone, not fixed, but better, bearable. She can breathe a little deeper, can let herself rest a little more fully. Minutes pass, maybe many minutes. She sits with her eyes closed, breathing slowly, feeling the chair hold her, feeling the library hold her, feeling something larger than herself hold her. The worry that usually fills her mind about tomorrow, about next week, about all the things she should be doing and isn't, that worry recedes. Not gone, but distant, manageable. She opens her eyes. The library looks the same, the shelves, the books, the soft light. but she sees it differently now. Sees it the way he described it, as a place that's full rather than empty, as a place that holds rather than isolates, as a place that offers rather than demands. She stands slowly. Her body feels heavy in the good way, the way it feels after a long bath or a good meal. Satisfied, settled, she walks back toward the front. The librarian is still reading, still present but not intrusive. "Thank you," she says as she passes his desk. He looks up, smiles that small smile. "Come back any time. We're here most nights. Same time, same quiet." "I will," she says, and means it. "Good," he says simply. "That's good." She moves toward the door, pauses with her hand on the handle, looks back. The library stretches behind her. All those shelves, all those books, all that patient quiet. She memorizes it. This feeling, this place, this sense of being held. Then she pushes the door open and steps back into the night. The air outside feels colder now. The contrast makes her aware of how warm the library was. She stands at the top of the stone steps, looking out at the empty street, at the amber street lights, at the storefronts with their dark windows and their lit windows. The town looks the same as it did when she arrived, but she sees it differently now. She sees it as a place where kindness exists, where strangers offer grace without asking for anything in return, where small moments of connection can change the shape of an evening, where you can feel less alone simply by being in a place that welcomes you. She descends the steps slowly. At the bottom, she pauses, looks left toward home, looks right toward the rest of town. She turns right, not ready to go home yet, not ready to leave this feeling behind, wanting to walk a little more, wanting to breathe this air a little longer. She walks past the real estate office, past the barber shop, past the hardware store. Her pace is slower than before, more deliberate. She's noticing things now. The way the light falls across the sidewalk in patterns, the way the awnings create shadows within shadows, the way each storefront tells a small story. What kind of town this is, what kind of people live here, what matters to them. The street curves slightly as it leaves the main commercial area. The buildings here are houses now. Small houses set close to the sidewalk, with narrow yards and front porches. Most porches have lights on, yellow bulbs in fixtures by the front door. A few have porch swings, chains creaking softly in the breeze. One house has a cat sitting on the porch railing, perfectly still, watching her pass with luminous eyes. The sidewalk here is less even. Tree roots have lifted sections of concrete, creating small obstacles. She steps over them carefully, watching her feet, but not from anxiety, from presence, from being here now, in this moment, walking this street, breathing this air. A dog barks from behind a fence, just once. A greeting, not a warning. From inside a house, she hears laughter, the sound of a television, the sounds of lives being lived. These sounds don't make her feel excluded. They make her feel part of something. Part of a town where people live and laugh and watch television and let their dogs out and turn on porch lights. Part of something ordinary and beautiful and real. She reaches a corner where a small coffee shop sits. The sign above the door reads Maggie's in simple letters. The windows are dark except for one light left on inside. A light over the counter, illuminating the espresso machine and the pastry case. A small chalkboard on an easel by the door lists tomorrow's specials in neat handwriting. She stops to read it. Blueberry scones, pumpkin bread, drip coffee, simple things, good things. As she stands reading, a sound reaches her. Footsteps, she turns. A man is walking toward her from the opposite direction. Older, maybe 65 or 70, wearing khaki pants and a windbreaker. His white hair catches the streetlight. He's walking a small dog, a terrier mix that trots beside him with purpose. "Evening," he says as he approaches. "Evening," she replies. He stops beside her. The dog sniffs her shoes with interest. "Chilly one tonight," he says. "It is," she agrees. "But nice," he adds. "Quiet. I like walking this time of night. Town settles down, gets peaceful." She nods. "It is peaceful. You new here?" he asks. "Don't think I've seen you around." "No," she says. "I've been here a while. Just don't get out much at night usually." "Ah," he nods, understanding. "Well, good for you for getting out. It's good for the soul, I think. Walking at night, seeing the town when it's quiet, reminds you what matters." "What does matter?" she asks. The question comes out before she thinks about it. He considers this. The dog sits, patient. "Small things," he says finally. "Neighbor leaving their porch light on. Coffee shop that makes good scones. Library that stays open late for folks who need somewhere to be. Dog that's happy to walk even when your knees hurt." He smiles. Town like this, it's made of small things. And small things add up to something worth having. Something worth being part of. She feels that looseness in her chest again. Expanding. That's a good way to think about it. "Only way I know how anymore," he says. "Used to think big things mattered most. Career, money, recognition. But then you get to be my age and you realize the big things fade. Small things stick around. Small kindnesses, small connections, small moments when someone says hello on a street corner and you remember you're part of something." The dog stands, ready to continue walking. The man gives a slight tug on the leash. "Well, I won't keep you, but enjoy your walk. Town's pretty at night. Prettier when you really look at it." "Thank you," she says. "I will." He touches 2 fingers to his forehead, a small salute, and continues on. The dog trots beside him. Their footsteps fade into the distance. She watches until they turn a corner and disappear from sight. Small things, she thinks. Small kindnesses, small connections, small moments. She continues walking. The street slopes gently downward now. At the bottom of the slope, she can see a small bridge crossing what must be a creek. The bridge is stone, old and solid, with low walls on either side. Streetlights illuminate it from both ends. She walks toward it, drawn by something she can't name. Just a feeling that she should see what's there. The bridge is narrow, wide enough for a car, but barely. The stone walls on either side come up to her waist. She stops in the middle, leans against the wall, looks down. The creek below is narrow, maybe 10 feet across. The water moves over rocks, creating soft sounds, splashing, murmuring, that particular voice that water has. The sound is soothing, constant. It was here before she arrived. It will be here after she leaves. It asks nothing. It simply is. She stands there for a long time, looking down at the water, listening to its voice, feeling the cool stone under her hands. The town continues its quiet existence around her. A car passes on a street several blocks away. A door closes. A porch light goes off. The town breathing, the town being, the town existing in all its small, ordinary beauty. She thinks about the librarian's words, about not being alone. She thinks about the old man's words, about small things mattering. She thinks about this town, and this night, and this moment, standing on a bridge, looking down at water that has flowed here for longer than anyone can remember. She thinks, I can be part of this. I can belong to this. I don't have to earn it or deserve it. I just have to be here. Just have to notice. Just have to let myself feel connected to something larger than my own small worries. And she does feel it. Standing on this bridge in this small town on this November night, she feels connected. She feels less alone. She feels like she belongs to something worth belonging to. The water continues flowing. The town continues breathing. And she continues standing, continues feeling, continues being present to this moment that will never come again, but will also never fully leave her. This moment of peace, this moment of connection, this moment of remembering that life doesn't have to be grand to be good. It just has to be noticed, just has to be felt, just has to be lived with attention and presence and willingness to see beauty in ordinary things. Eventually, she pushes away from the wall, continues across the bridge. On the far side, the street curves back toward the main part of town. She follows it slowly, in no rush, content to let this walk last as long as it needs to. Content to be here, now, walking these streets, breathing this air, being part of this small town with its small kindnesses and its small connections and its small moments that add up to something worth having. The houses she passes now are dark mostly. A few porch lights still burning, a few windows still glowing. But most of the town has settled into sleep. The quiet has deepened. Even the sounds of the creek have faded behind her. Just her footsteps now, just her breathing, just the soft sound of wind moving through bare branches. She finds herself back on Main Street without consciously choosing to go there. The streetlights still burn amber. The storefronts still show their mix of dark and light windows. The library, she passes it again, still has that single light burning inside. The librarian probably still sitting at his desk, still reading, still being present for anyone who needs somewhere to be. She stops at the small park again, the 2 benches, the 3 maple trees, the carpet of fallen leaves. The jacket is still there, folded on one bench. She walks to the other bench, sits down. The wood is cold but not uncomfortable. She settles back against the bench's slats, stretches her legs out in front of her, tips her head back to look up. The sky above is scattered with stars. Not a blanket of them. The streetlights are too bright for that, but enough. Scattered points of cold light against the dark. She picks out the few constellations she knows. The Big Dipper, Orion. She looks for others but can't remember their names or shapes. Doesn't matter. The stars don't need names to be beautiful, don't need to be recognized to be present. She sits there for a long time. Could be 10 minutes, could be 30. Time has stopped feeling important. What matters is this, being here, sitting on this bench, looking at these stars, feeling this peace that has settled over her like the darkness has settled over the town. A car drives past slowly. The driver glances at her, just checking, just making sure she's okay, then continues on. The sound of the engine fades, the quiet returns, and it's not empty, this quiet. Just like the librarian said, it's full of presence, full of possibility, full of peace. She thinks, I could come back tomorrow night, walk these streets again, visit the library again, stop on the bridge again, sit on this bench again. This could become something I do, a way of taking care of myself, a way of remembering I'm part of something, a way of finding peace when peace feels impossible. The thought feels good, feels possible, feels like something she can hold on to when the days get hard again. And they will get hard again. She knows that. But she also knows now that there's this small town, these quiet streets, these small kindnesses, this sense of belonging. She knows it's here. She knows she can return to it. That knowledge feels like a gift. The wind picks up slightly. The leaves on the ground rustle and shift. A few lift into the air, spiraling in small eddies before settling again. The temperature has dropped another degree or two. True cold is coming, but not yet, not tonight. Tonight the air is just cool enough to be noticed, just cool enough to make her aware of her body, her breath, her aliveness. She stands, eventually. Her legs feel stiff from sitting. She stretches briefly, then begins walking again. Home this time. Ready now. Ready to return to her own space, her own walls, her own quiet, but carrying something with her. Carrying the memory of kindness. Carrying the feeling of connection. Carrying the peace she found here. The walk home takes 10 minutes. Maybe 15. She's not counting. Just walking, just being. The streets are familiar now. She knows which house has the cat on the porch. Knows where the sidewalk is uneven. Knows where the streetlights cast their amber pools. Knows this town in a way she didn't before. Not just the geography, the feeling of it, the heart of it. Her house is small. A rental, 1 story. Front porch with 2 steps. She climbs those steps, unlocks the door, steps inside. The interior is dark except for the light she left on in the kitchen. She closes the door behind her, locks it, stands for a moment in her own entryway, letting herself arrive. The house is quiet but not empty. It holds her things, her life, her routines. It's not much, but it's hers. And tonight, that feels like enough, more than enough. She moves through the dark living room, doesn't turn on lights, just moves by memory and the faint glow from the kitchen. In her bedroom, she turns on a small lamp by the bed. Soft light fills the space. She changes into comfortable clothes. Soft pants, soft shirt, clothes that feel like permission to rest. She sits on the edge of her bed. The mattress dips under her weight. She looks around the room. It's simple. A bed, a dresser, a chair in the corner with clothes draped over it, a window with curtains pulled closed. Nothing special, nothing beautiful, but it's hers. And tonight, in this moment, that's enough. She lies back, pulls the blankets up. The sheets are cool against her skin. The pillow soft under her head. She settles into the bed's familiar geography, finds her usual position, closes her eyes. The day feels very far away now. The weight she carried, the noise she endured. It's all distant, manageable. Tomorrow it might return, probably will return. But right now, in this moment, she's okay. She's more than okay. She's at peace. She thinks about the library, the kind librarian, the old man with his dog, the bridge and the creek, the bench under the stars, small things, small moments, small kindnesses, all of it adding up to this feeling, this sense that she's not alone, that she belongs, that there's a place for her in this world, in this town, in this moment. Her breathing slows, deepens. Her body grows heavy in the bed. That good heavy, the heavy of true rest, the heavy of letting go, the heavy of sleep approaching like a friend, gentle and welcome. The house is quiet around her. The town is quiet beyond her walls. Everything settling, everything resting, everything breathing in rhythm with everything else. Small town, small life, small moments, but they're enough. They've always been enough. She just forgot for a while, just stopped noticing, just stopped being present to the beauty that was always there, waiting to be seen. She remembers now, and remembering, she lets herself rest, lets herself sleep, lets herself be held by this bed, this house, this town, this moment, lets herself belong to something larger than her worry, larger than her loneliness, larger than her small individual life. The night deepens. The stars wheel slowly across the sky. The creek continues flowing under the bridge. The library light continues burning. The streetlights continue casting their amber glow. The town continues being itself, small and ordinary and beautiful and kind. And she sleeps, deep and dreamless and complete. The kind of sleep that heals, the kind of sleep that restores, the kind of sleep that reminds you why being alive, even when it's hard, is still worth it, still good, still full of small moments that matter more than you think. The night holds her, the town holds her, the peace holds her, and she lets herself be held, finally, fully, without resistance. Small things, small kindnesses, small connections, small moments, they're enough. They've always been enough. And tomorrow, when the sun rises and the day begins again with all its demands and noise and weight, she remember the library, remember the old man, remember the bridge, remember the bench, remember that there's a place she can return to, a feeling she can find again, a peace that's always waiting. But for now, she sleeps, and sleeping, she rests, and resting, she heals. And healing, she remembers who she is beneath the exhaustion, beneath the worry, beneath everything that made her forget. She remembers she's someone who belongs, someone who's not alone, someone who's part of something good and kind and real. Small town, small life, small moments. Enough, always enough. The night continues, the sleep continues, the peace continues. Everything exactly as it should be.